I think since we've gotten Braun back, we haven't been as organized offensively, too many random possessions. So, that's on me. So it's those three things,
JJ Redick didn't whisper his frustration. He said it out loud multiple times, and everyone knew exactly who it pointed at. The Lakers' offense looked messy, confused, and out of sync. And Redick wasn't blaming bad luck or missed shots. This was about structure, control, and who was really running the show. LeBron James did not take those comments lightly. And what happened behind closed doors quietly flipped the entire mood of the Lakers' locker room. This wasn't just coach talk. This was tension at the top, the kind that changes how a team looks at each other every single night. It all blew up on Christmas Day 2025. The Lakers got embarrassed by the Houston Rockets, losing 119-96, and the game wasn't even close by the third quarter. Houston played fast, sharp, and connected, while the Lakers looked like five strangers arguing about rotations and spacing. The timing made it worse. This was just after LeBron had returned from injury, and that detail mattered more than anyone wanted to admit. After the final buzzer, JJ Redick walked into the post-game press conference with a tone nobody had heard from him before. Calm but sharp, measured but loaded. When asked why the Lakers failed to execute, his answer sent a chill through the locker room. Redick made it clear that the frustration didn't start that night. He had been calling out offensive disorganization ever since LeBron returned on December 27, 2025, following that ugly 124-111 loss to the Clippers. He even took responsibility publicly, saying the staff wasn't doing enough, but he didn't sugarcoat the issue. The offense had lost clarity. Then January 8, 2026 came around. Even after a win against the Pelicans, Redick went right back to it. Spacing problems, missed reads, chaotic execution. Winning didn't erase the issue, and Redick wasn't pretending it did. When role players weren't in the right spots, he said it plainly. Luca and LeBron are elite creators, but the system collapses when everyone else is guessing instead of reacting. That wasn't an accident. That was a warning. By January 13th, 2026, even after a blowout win against the Hawks, Redick still wasn't satisfied. 12 turnovers in the first half alone, most of them completely avoidable. That's what happens, he said, when the team stops valuing the details of basketball. The stats backed him up. The Lakers ranked 10th in turnovers at 14.2 per game, which made no sense for a team with two of the smartest decision makers in the league. Redick didn't blame lazy passes. He blamed bad reads and confusion. But here's where it hit different. Redick didn't just point out the problem. He traced where it started. The disorganization showed up the moment LeBron returned, and everyone paying attention understood exactly what that meant. Before LeBron came back from sciatica, the Lakers were rolling. They went 11-3 over a 14-game stretch, top 5 in offensive efficiency, around 115 points per 100 possessions. Luca ran the floor with control. Austin Reeves picked his spots and exploded for 30-plus games. Rui spaced the floor, defended, and played his role without forcing anything. Look at November 15th, 2025 against the Pelicans during the NBA Cup stretch. Luca dropped 24 and 12. Reeves poured in 31 and grabbed 8 boards. Rui chipped in 14. No hero ball, the system worked. December 1st, 2025 against the Pelicans again. Same script. Luca with 34, Reeves with 33 and 8 assists. Ayton controlled the paint, clean rotations, functional basketball.
Not at all. Not at all. I don't know. I don't know what else to do. I do a lot of joysticking over there on the sideline. Yesterday I said, hey, let's run away toss and bring it up the left side. I want so-and-so in it. It's after a dead ball. It was like I'm calling on the fly. And we bring it up that side, and the person I want in the away toss isn't over there. It's just like, that's happening so consistently right now. I chalk it up to the holidays.
What's holiday food? Crackling the brain?
I don't know.
Then LeBron returned and everything shifted. The defensive rating jumped from 108 to 117.8 in just 6 games. The team went 2-4, losing to squads they had handled weeks earlier. The plus-minus numbers told a brutal story. Over 13 games, LeBron posted a minus 4.5. Luca sat at plus 2.6. Reeves at plus 2.9. When all three shared the floor, the Lakers were outscored by 10 points in just 132 minutes. One night, LeBron scored 18 but finished at minus 33. Another teammate didn't score at all and still ended at minus 29. The so-called king was hurting the team more than someone who didn't even put the ball in the hoop. And to people who had been watching closely, this felt familiar. A talented roster, a system that worked. And then accountability slowly vanished the moment LeBron stepped back on the floor. Front office silence, mistakes ignored, patterns repeating. Anyone really watching could see it, and Redick finally said what everyone else danced around. LeBron was arguing with referees instead of sprinting back on defense. Possessions kept breaking down while teammates scrambled to cover gaps he left behind. Missed rotations, slow reactions, and long stretches where he just stood there while the offense froze up. The eye test matched the numbers perfectly, and it wasn't subtle anymore. The smart, efficient basketball that had been working turned into chaos almost overnight. It felt like watching a system glitch in real time. Reads were late, spacing vanished, and the rhythm disappeared the moment LeBron took control of the ball again. Role players who had been confident suddenly looked unsure. Guys who thrived with space had nowhere to move because everything collapsed around LeBron's ball dominance. The Lakers had built something functional without him, and when he returned, it didn't fade slowly. It vanished instantly. Games that should have been easy wins flipped into frustrating losses. Teams the Lakers handled comfortably weeks earlier suddenly looked dangerous. And this time, Redick wasn't playing the quiet coach role anymore. He watched the same film everyone else watched. He saw the same stats. And he made a decision most coaches in LeBron's orbit never make. He told the truth out loud. That Christmas Day loss didn't just sting, it cracked something open. According to sources around the team, Redick and LeBron had a heated confrontation in the locker room afterward. The viral press conference clip wasn't just talk. It triggered what came next. And then came DeAndre Ayton's reaction, which told you everything. When reporters asked him about Redick saying practice and meetings were going to be uncomfortable, Ayton laughed it off. Not nervous laughter, not awkward laughter, dismissive laughter. Think about that. The head coach had just publicly called out professionalism after a national embarrassment, and the response was a shrug and a joke. That's not confidence. That's fear culture. When a coach says he's not doing another 53 games like that and players deflect instead of owning it, you know exactly what's happening. Everyone knew who the comments were really aimed at, and nobody wanted to touch it. Ayton had already admitted the truth earlier in the season. He said not everyone feels comfortable telling LeBron how to do certain things on the court. Not everyone feels like they can approach him or correct him in real time.
The other thing that stood out was we ran 12 ATOs last night, 8 of which we didn't run correctly. We tried to run 2 of them again, still didn't run correctly. One we tried to run a third time, didn't run that correctly. So just a lot of slippage with execution.
That's not normal locker room behavior. And remember, Ayton is one of LeBron's closest allies on the roster. If even he hesitates, imagine how the rest of the team feels. This pattern isn't new either. There's history here, and it's loud. David Blatt had Cleveland winning and organized. The moment tension with LeBron showed up, Blatt was gone mid-season. Standings didn't matter. Frank Vogel won a championship. When things got bumpy later, accountability didn't land on the star. Vogel became the fall guy and was out. Even Erik Spoelstra almost didn't survive early clashes with LeBron. People forget how close that situation was. The sideline bump told the whole story. The only reason Spoelstra stayed was Pat Riley standing firm. Most teams don't have that kind of backbone. The Lakers definitely don't. So when Redick stepped to the mic and linked the disorganization to LeBron's return, he wasn't just venting, he was forcing a decision. Professional standards or superstar comfort. History shows which one usually loses. Redick knew the risk. He picked that moment because the whole league saw the same thing. Fans are tired of coaches protecting stars while systems fall apart. For once, someone inside that building treated LeBron like a player, not a protected figure. And in the NBA, being right doesn't always mean you're safe. The real question wasn't whether Redick told the truth, it was whether the league would let him survive telling it. The pattern LeBron built over 2 decades didn't just affect teammates, it spread like a cold chill through the entire league. Front offices felt it, general managers learned it, owners understood it fast. Step out of line around LeBron and your job security starts shaking immediately. That's not some wild theory, that's documented history across multiple franchises. Coaches disappeared, executives got pushed out, entire directions changed. The message was clear. Challenge LeBron and you don't last long. The NBA runs on relationships and LeBron's reach goes everywhere. Player agents protect him. Media voices soften narratives for him. Sponsors shield him. The normal systems of accountability that exist for other stars simply don't apply here. That's why Redick's press conference hit like an earthquake. Coaches don't survive pushing back on LeBron, yet there was Redick standing at the podium after a nationally televised embarrassment, saying the quiet part out loud. The team worked better without their biggest name on the floor. The locker room felt it instantly. Overnight, the energy shifted. Players who might have privately agreed with Redick suddenly had to choose sides. And in a culture where opposing LeBron historically comes with consequences, that choice wasn't harmless. Some players went silent, others deflected with jokes and smiles. But nobody stood next to Redick and said he was right. Nobody backed the numbers. Nobody validated what the tape clearly showed. Fear was stronger than honesty. That silence said everything. And then there's Luca. The future the Lakers quietly started building without LeBron. Luca's arrival didn't just change the roster, it changed the direction of the franchise. The blockbuster deal that brought him in shifted the entire timeline toward a younger, generational talent while keeping the team competitive.
But I'm curious, 14 games of evidence in, did that expectation expand or change in any way with what he's going to have to fit in and integrate with?
No, it didn't. Our conversations this summer were really healthy and positive, and learned a lot about what he wants out of his 23rd season in the NBA. And I think one of the big takeaways from our conversations was just continuing to find ways to challenge him.
By the time Luca officially landed in Los Angeles, the Lakers were already drowning in the chaos tied to LeBron. Luca didn't walk into a clean slate. He walked into a locker room where fear and the idea of LeBron being untouchable were already baked into the walls. From day one, Luca made it clear this wasn't a participation trophy setup. This was about winning, structure, and standards. The Lakers locking him into a 3-year, $165 million extension wasn't just about money. That was a message. This is our future, and we're not hesitating. By January 14th, 2026, Luca was putting up ridiculous numbers. Around 33.5 points per game, nearly 9 assists, almost 9 rebounds, leading the league in scoring and controlling games without forcing anything. Big nights became routine. 42 points in one game, a 38-point triple-double in another. Endless 30-plus performances throughout January. In one half alone, he scored or assisted on nearly every basket. Triple-doubles stopped being highlights and started being expectations. In a short span, he was already climbing Lakers' all-time lists. And here's the part nobody could ignore. When Luca and LeBron both scored 25-plus, the team was undefeated. When the balance worked, it really worked. LeBron even publicly leaned into a supporting role. He said Luca didn't need to adjust his game. Luca was the franchise. Redick praised the chemistry developing around Luca. The offense flowed. The ball moved. LeBron played off-ball more, complementing Luca's style instead of hijacking it, and the contrast became impossible to ignore. When Luca ran the offense, spacing opened up. Cuts made sense. Pick and rolls had breathing room. Offensive efficiency climbed while defensive discipline followed. When LeBron returned to dominating possessions, the defense collapsed. The rating dropped by nearly 10 points per 100 possessions. Luca's presence had the opposite effect. Young players stayed locked in. Rotations were sharp. Accountability existed without yelling. No fear, no tiptoeing. It mirrored other successful transitions around the league, like Giannis rising in Milwaukee. Luca wasn't just talented, he was coachable and team first. Unlike past experiments that struggled with chemistry, Luca blended immediately. He lifted teammates instead of shrinking them. He didn't demand control through personality, he earned it through play. That standard is exactly what had been missing for years, and fans saw it instantly. Social media blew up. Side-by-side clips showed the difference. Movement with Luca, stagnation without him. The eye test and analytics scream the same thing. And still, some of LeBron's most loyal supporters floated the wildest takes imaginable. Trade Luca. Trade the one guy stabilizing the locker room. Flip him for picks and role players just to protect the narrative, and it was absurd. The problem wasn't talent. It wasn't depth. It was structure, accountability, and ball dominance. Quietly, something else started happening. Front office moves began taking shape without waiting for LeBron's input. Decisions that once revolved around him didn't anymore. Through play, leadership, and consistency, Luca became the new center of gravity. He influenced strategy, he shaped culture, he earned respect the old way, not through noise, but through results. And that shift scared people who benefited from the old order. The Lakers weren't just changing players anymore, they were reclaiming control.
This ball club.
Yeah, we have some experience with it. I do know, because we looked at this stuff too a few weeks ago. Those guys would show and no LeBron that was like the best sort of variation of the no LeBron lineup with those two on the court. And obviously Joe's not here anymore.
When healthy, Luca has the Lakers looking like real championship contenders. Not pretend ones, not hype-driven ones, but an actual basketball team that makes sense. The spacing clicks, the defense holds. Young players grow because they're allowed to mess up, learn and adjust instead of freezing up around a star who demands the ball no matter the matchup or moment. The Lakers built something real around Luca, and every game where that structure gets undermined by LeBron slipping back into old habits feels like another opportunity wasted. Not slowly wasted, instantly wasted. This roster has genuine title potential, and everyone inside the league knows it. Now here's where the story gets uncomfortable. While LeBron may not be helping the team improve on the floor anymore, there's one thing he's perfected completely. Perception, movies, commercials, social media clips, charity headlines, carefully framed narratives. LeBron isn't just a player, he's a walking brand, and the NBA has become his stage. The more people consume that version of him, the less they notice what's actually happening during games. His media machine pushes the King James image non-stop, so aggressively that it covers up how badly his presence disrupts team flow and accountability. Compare that to Luca, who arrived in Los Angeles with zero entourage drama, no cameras tracking warm-ups, no meme factories spinning every possession. Luca doesn't need manufactured hype. He earns everything on the court. The media didn't have to build his story because the stats, efficiency, and defensive impact already told it. Fans noticed immediately. Luca became the new face of LA basketball without begging for it. Meanwhile, LeBron's media cycle feeds itself. Endless debates. Should trades revolve around him? Should the offense bend to him? Should the team slow down to match him? Those conversations exist because perception drives decisions more than performance. And that's the real problem. Basketball choices are being influenced by image instead of impact. This isn't just awkward anymore. It's actively reshaping LeBron's legacy in real time. The self-proclaimed king, once untouchable, now drags his team down because he refuses to adapt or step aside. How does a 41-year-old still damage team chemistry through ego? Look at past legends. Accountability was never optional. Mistakes got corrected instantly. Effort stayed maxed out. Comfort zones didn't exist. The team always came first. That's exactly why Luca and Redick represent the Lakers' real path forward. Luca leads by example. He's young, coachable, relentless, and focused on winning the right way. Redick is the coach who finally calls everyone out and demands standards that disappeared years ago. Together, they hit the reset button. The Lakers have one real chance to chase a title with structure, effort, and discipline intact. Not leaning on nostalgia, not babysitting a superstar clinging to old glory. This decision isn't about ego anymore, it's about survival. The front office, the coaching staff, and the fan base all face the same choice. Keep protecting LeBron and watch the roster collapse, or pivot fully and put Luca at the center. Demand accountability. Demand movement. Demand effort. Because the question isn't whether the Lakers need change. The question is whether they have the courage to let the real leader run the show. And make no mistake, the protection LeBron receives from the media is everywhere. Highlight reels hide defensive lapses. Commentators call ball dominance taking over instead of freezing teammates out. Algorithms push brand content while criticism gets buried. This isn't a conspiracy, it's business. LeBron represents billions in ads, partnerships, and merchandise. Networks need access. Reporters risk losing sources. Analysts face fan backlash. The incentive structure shields him at every level. That's why Redick's press conference felt explosive. For a moment, the truth slipped past the filter. People treated it like breaking news because honest evaluations of LeBron almost never reach the public.
And I think one of the big takeaways from our conversations was just continuing to find ways to challenge him. I think that's part of the reason that he's still doing it beyond just the love of the game is his brain needs a new challenge. That's how he functions at a high level. And so just finding new ways to challenge him, whether that's, as a screener, as an off-ball player like we did last year.
Compare that to Luca. His bad nights get dissected, his mistakes get clipped, his defense gets questioned. Normal accountability applies to him. LeBron doesn't get that treatment. His reputation has been armored for 2 decades. Every criticism gets reframed, every struggle blamed on something else. But at some point, the numbers stop lying. At some point, the eye test beats the marketing. And that moment may have finally arrived inside a Lakers locker room where the coach told the truth and the team's best basketball happened without LeBron on the floor. Since his rookie season in Los Angeles, LeBron James became a cornerstone of the Lakers' modern era, bridging the long post-Kobe Bryant rebuild into what was supposed to be the next chapter. The achievements are real, documented, and impossible to erase. The 2019-20 NBA championship delivered the Lakers their first title in a decade and their 17th overall, and LeBron was the engine of that run. In the finals against Miami, he averaged nearly 30 points, almost 12 rebounds, and over 8 assists per game. He earned his 4th Finals MVP, becoming the only player in league history to win that award with 3 different teams. The resume kept stacking. He led the Lakers to the inaugural in-season tournament title in 2023 and took home the MVP there too. He became the NBA's all-time leading scorer, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He crossed the 50,000-point mark. He dropped multiple 50-point games, including back-to-back performances at home as the oldest player ever to do it. 7 All-Star selections, 7 All-NBA honors. During his Lakers run, he even led the league in assists in 2020. Across roughly 439 games in purple and gold, LeBron averaged about 26 points, 8 assists, and nearly 8 rebounds per night. Even with physical limitations later on, he still produced elite stretches that reminded everyone of his greatness. Despite dealing with ongoing physical management early in the 2025-26 season, he posted stretches of 28-plus points per game with outrageous efficiency. Redick himself described it as a different kind of greatness, adapting more off-ball, mentoring, and adjusting while the roster shifted around Luca Doncic. But here's where the story gets complicated. Individual stats don't tell the whole truth about what's happening inside this team. In late 2025, an NBA betting investigation, often referred to in media circles as Operation Nothing But Bet, resurfaced in public discussion. Federal investigators examined allegations tied to illegal betting networks, information leaks around injury reports, wire fraud, and money laundering connected to high-stakes gambling circles. A former NBA player with prior league connections became a central figure. LeBron's name surfaced only because of proximity, not accusation. He has not been charged, not named as a suspect, and sources confirmed he was unaware of the activity. He cut ties with the individual well before the case became public, and both he and the Lakers cooperated with league inquiries. Still, the situation added another layer of noise around his final seasons. As of mid-January 2026, LeBron is managing long-term physical wear, including nerve irritation and joint soreness related to age and workload. These aren't sudden injuries, but reality checks for a 41-year-old still logging heavy minutes. Every back-to-back is now a question mark, every appearance carefully monitored. Even so, he still delivered strong nights when available, near triple-doubles, efficient scoring bursts, veteran control when the situation fit him. The Lakers managed his load closely while pushing for playoff positioning. By mid-January, the team sat near the top 5 in the Western Conference despite defensive inconsistencies and injury-related depth issues. On paper, this looked like a contender. But then came the shift that changed everything. The trade that brought Luca to Los Angeles didn't just add talent, it signaled a franchise pivot. This was the first real step toward a post-LeBron future. The tension didn't come from disrespect. It came from contrast. When Luca ran the offense, the ball moved, spacing opened, young players learned without fear. Accountability existed naturally. When the offense slid back into LeBron-centric control, that structure cracked again. That's the uncomfortable reality Redick forced into public view. LeBron's Lakers legacy is already secure in many ways. Titles, records, cultural moments, Kobe tributes, global relevance during a transitional era. A statue someday is still widely expected, but the current moment isn't about erasing the past, it's about choosing the future. The locker room tension, Redick's public callouts, Luca's emergence as the clear franchise centerpiece, the background noise of off-court narratives, the physical limitations that affect availability. All of it has collided at once. The longer the Lakers delay a clear decision, the more damage gets done. Every game that reverts to old habits slows chemistry. Every unresolved tension fractures trust. Every possession that ignores structure wastes prime development time. Redick took a risk coaches almost never survive. He chose honesty over comfort. He chose team standards over superstar preference. The evidence is clear. The numbers support it. The eye test confirms it. The Lakers are better when LeBron adapts to a supporting role. They struggle when he dominates possessions the way he did for 2 decades elsewhere. This isn't about whether LeBron can still play at a high level. He absolutely can in the right situations. The real question is whether he's willing to fully accept a role that maximizes team success instead of individual rhythm. And that answer will define how this era is remembered. Another championship cements his Lakers chapter among the greats like Magic Johnson, Kareem, and Kobe. A collapse driven by stubbornness adds an uncomfortable footnote to an otherwise historic run. The choice belongs to LeBron, but the consequences belong to everyone in the building. Redick made it clear he's not wasting another season waiting for that choice to resolve itself. The Lakers already have their future. His name is Luca. The only question left is whether the organization is brave enough to fully embrace it.